We got Tuesday, April 2nd, 3:30 p.m., 84 degrees. It was my buddy Dan. He was with me in the province video. We went to Balamban. Everyone's asking about you, dude. Like, where'd you go? Where'd you went? I left him there in Balamban. No.
Yeah, I had to take a nap. A long extended nap.
So I met Dan. You've been here about a month now, right?
I just went over a month on the 1st.
Yeah. So how's it been? Tell me what's your take the first month?
It's been very interesting. It's really hard to put into words.
Yeah.
I think you have to really kind of come and experience it for yourself. But I think different, fun, enlightening are some good words to describe it.
What do you think of the overall, the people here, like the vibe, the feeling you get from living here, kind of compare it to the West, the stress, the friendliness of people? What would you say to that kind of stuff?
I think more people are laid back here in the Philippines. Nice manners. They don't like hostility here in the Philippines. They don't like you getting angry, raising your voice. Right. That's a no-no. They don't like that whatsoever.
Yeah, it's a very, what they call the saving face culture. Very subdued, very chill. I like that too. Yeah, I would agree with that totally. And just a lot more of a relaxed vibe and friendlier vibe.
Yeah.
You don't have that outward hostility at all, like traffic, road rage. You don't see any of that here.
Yeah, nobody shooting you the finger, nobody giving me the fist.
Right.
Nobody saying a sarcastic remark to me when I walk by.
Right.
I mean, it's just amazing how different it is.
Yeah, isn't it? We're in an area of town that I moved, when I first moved to Cebu back in December, I spent a month out here. IT Park. Yeah, it's a different area than the business park where you've been at now for a little bit. A lot more open, a lot more things outside, some parks.
Where the business park and the mall, everything's inside. Here, everything's like the reverse is outside.
Right, yeah, pretty cool.
But it's nice, but it's different.
Yeah.
But it's different in a good way.
Yeah. It's a little bit of a bubble out here too. I think not too bad. So, Dan, maybe introduce yourself, but talk a little bit about, I think you said before you were a janitor for the
State Department.
I'm joking.
And before that, I was a cook in the Navy.
Cook in the Navy. So, you're retired now, right? You're retired, and you're over here just checking it out, and
exactly.
you spent a little bit of time in Thailand first, and
right. I spent a total of 36 days in Thailand.
Yeah.
And then I came here. And my goal is probably give it to December, stay here December, which would probably be 9 months here.
Yeah.
And by then I'll make a decision whether I want to make it a permanent move, a part-time move, or just go back. I'm just keeping all my options open right now.
So you made a pretty quick decision then I spent 30 days in Thailand and then the Philippines. And so then what was your take on Thailand? Like what did you think about it?
Just wasn't for me.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think you and I have talked about this a little bit before, and I think some of the things you've shared with me is that it's too much of a partying type, like that sincere relationship. It was difficult to get there. Tell me.
Well, in Thailand, the children are raised to have the mindset to take care of their parents, like it's job number one, because the way the parents instill it in the children is we gave you birth, so you owe us. So if you marry a Thai, you're gonna have to pay a dowry to marry her to the family. In addition, she's gonna want a girlfriend allowance, and some of that, maybe all that, will end up going towards her parent. And what I noticed with being in Thailand is the bigger the age gap get, the more that dowry and even the girlfriend allowance starts going on up. Because Thailand now over the years doesn't look as positive upon big age gaps like the Philippines does.
Interesting. Now, I do know from not experience, but from kind of things that I've heard and talked to other foreigners here that not so much the dowry, but the girlfriend allowance is pretty common, as well as helping the family out.
Yeah.
I know a couple gentlemen that I've talked to on this, they usually say, what they do is they give their girlfriend or wife, whatever, they say, here's X amount of dollars per month. And then they can do what they want with that, including help the family. So yeah, I think it's maybe a little bit similar, but not quite as exaggerated as it is there in Thailand.
Right, exactly. It seems relationships in Thailand seem more of a business transaction. And of course you have it in the Philippines, but not to that scale. If you're an 80-year-old dude and you want to marry a 19-year-old girl,
Yeah.
In Thailand, you're going to have to kick out some serious dollars for that to happen. Here in the Philippines, that's going to be a lot more common.
Yes, it
And in
is.
some instances, you get away with giving nobody money.
That's right. No, yeah.
And the girl more than likely in the Philippines will truly love you.
Right.
Versus in Thailand,
Transaction.
it'll be more of a transactional relationship. Now, of course, there's always exceptions to the rule, but it's more of a norm. That's more the norm in both. Difference between both cultures. Whereas in Thailand, if I'm a 50-year-old guy, I might be able to have a relationship with a girl that's 35 or 36.
Right. Yeah, I don't really have any experience with the Thai culture at all, but I can tell in the Philippines culture and those relationships, some of the characteristics that I would describe Filipinos is they're extremely devoted.
Right.
It's just you talk about a spouse that's going to be there for you. I mean, holy mackerel. I mean, probably some of the most devoted relationships you could find, I think, is right here.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's interesting.
Yeah, and that's what goes back to what we were talking about earlier, is that in the Philippines, if you're an 80-year-old guy, that 19-year-old you end up marrying will truly love you and care for you to the day you die.
I believe that too.
And that's just not like a one-off here. You see that a lot more than you think you would.
Yeah, we see it all the time here.
Yeah.
We saw a guy getting in the cab earlier, an older gentleman with a younger. It's very common. Age gap stuff is common here.
Yeah. Like I said, a lot more than I noticed in Thailand.
Well, and let's talk about that for a second. I brought that up in a video that I released recently about age gap and dating. I mean, I don't know about your experience, dude, but have you had a 50-year-old woman come up to you and flirt with you since you've been here?
No,
right?
They're all like 26 and younger.
And how many 20-year-olds have been flirting with you?
All the time. That's another different thing between both cultures. In the Philippines, they like to flirt.
Yeah, it is a flirting culture, isn't it?
Yes,
I think I have starting to notice that too. But but the age thing though, I mean, I just don't. Probably not quite daily, but I would say almost every other day, I'll have a girl flirt. Displaying some kind of open affection towards me, and those women are almost always in their 20s and 30s.
Yeah,
all the time.
Yeah, you're right. I can't even think of an instance where a girl,
in her 40s,
it's hard to tell their age.
It is
30 and above. What I think is 30 and above ever flirt with me.
That's right. Interesting, isn't that? And how many times in the United States would you say?
It is kind of crazy. It's like both worlds are so different. It's like the bizarro world.
Isn't
I
it
go
crazy?
from being like invisible in the States
Yes.
to like a rock star here.
That's right.
I've actually had people stop and take their photographs with me.
Same.
And it's kind of like, are you serious?
That's right. I've had people in the same kind of reaction. I thought, yeah, I'll hold your camera. No, they want me in the middle of the picture.
Yeah. So you go from being in a culture where you're invisible.
That's right.
And you're almost waiting for death to like, now I feel like I'm alive again. I haven't felt this way since I was 18, 19,
Absolutely.
20 years ago old. I feel like a kid again.
Yeah. No, isn't it just incredible? Really is. Such a different, and it's not like we're any different.
Right.
We're the same middle-aged dude.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
But get us here where, we're desired and wanted, and it does. It's. I agree. It's awesome. I love it too.
And it goes back to what we were saying before about the amount of virgins over the age of 30 in the Philippines.
Yeah. Isn't that incredible?
I've been shocked at the amount of them.
Yeah.
It isn't a rarity. It's like more common, especially if you get out to the provinces.
That's right.
They're very traditional.
Very
provinces.
conservative out. Yeah.
When you date a province girl, you date to marry. There is no, I'm going to date around concept.
Nope. And there are a lot of province girls that you'll meet in the city though too, just because they'll, kind of like the area we're at, they'll come out here for work and then go home or whatever on the weekends and things like that. But yeah, it is different, especially when you get out, like when we're out in Balamang. And speaking of that, what was your take on Balamang? What did you think? What was your feeling? Would you go back there and hang out? And I mean, when we were there, you were like, I could live here part-time even.
I'd have to go back on my own and maybe spend a couple days and kind of See, I would take a gradual ease into it. There's some things I'd have to get used to, like, basically the town shuts down at 6 when the sun goes down.
That's right.
And in Balaban, I think there was only one 7-Eleven and one Jollibee, and that was it. Everything else was market food.
But what you could do in that case, living there, like the two gentlemen that we know that we met there, they had people come in and help them, or the one gentleman, anyways.
Yeah.
So that kind of thing is a lot more affordable, I think, if you get small town. And maybe that is too small. Like you could go. Even remember we went down to Toledo?
Yeah.
I think that bigger of a town might have more stuff going on in the evenings. So yeah, there's so many options. You can spend a lifetime just traveling around the Philippines and not experience everything.
Yeah, well, they got like over 7,000 islands.
And here's an interesting stat too that I heard just before I came out here, that it spans from like Detroit to Daytona.
Wow.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
The length of the Philippines is the same distance from Detroit to Daytona. Massive. Just massive in length. Now granted, the landmass isn't a ton, but...
And go back to what we were just previously talking about too. Another positive is the difference between, like we're talking about from Thailand and the Philippines, is the English. Everybody I go to seems to know how to at least speak a little bit.
Right.
So you can make your way no matter where you are in the stick. You're able to get by or at least find someone to help you on out. And like I did when I signed a lease on my apartment, I was able to do it without an attorney or anything like that because all legal documents in the Philippines have to be in English.
Yep. When I bought my motorcycle, all the paperwork's in English.
Yeah.
Yep. No, I agree. The English speaking and legal documents is huge here. And not only, I mean, we got call centers right here for the United States, so you have people who are extremely fluent in English. And I would say like almost everybody understands. And some people are shy about speaking, but even in the provinces when you're on a trike, you can talk to them, and you might struggle a little bit, but you can get there. Unlike Thailand or some other countries where you get out in the sticks,
you get out of the tourist spots, and it's kind of like good luck finding someone that even knows what you're even trying to say.
Right.
And that can be very scary and frustrating at the same time.
Well, even in the sense of relationship and dating,
right?
Long term, how you really communicate with your partner, that'd be challenging.
They maybe know 20 English words total.
Yeah.
And I've traveled to over 10 countries through between the military and post-military.
Right.
And I can say the Philippines has been the easiest culture I've been in to assimilate to.
Yes. Isn't it interesting?
Yeah.
We talked about this a couple times. I think and you brought this up before too, and I think it's so true. I mean, even just walking around and you hear 80s music, or you hear Western music everywhere.
Yeah.
It's not like a culture that has a lot of, there's music here that, they develop and make, but everywhere you go, you hear American or Western music. So it's pretty cool.
Even the shirts you see, like California, you're looking at the guy and he's like from the Philippines, like, have you been to California?
That's
or New York, or you see a Yankees hat.
Yes, Yankees.
Like they really
Oakland
embrace
Raiders.
the American. They really embrace the American culture.
Yep.
I see. Another thing I noticed too was with the NBA playoffs on, the security guys, a lot of them are watching the playoffs.
Yes, dude, basketball is massive there.
Yeah, I didn't realize that. And when we were in Balaban, they were inside the gym playing basketball.
That's right, dude. I think basketball is bigger here than it is in the United States.
That's what I was about to say. I was about to say that. By my observation, I saw more people watching basketball around here than I would in the U.S.
You'll see basketball courts everywhere. They're just everywhere here. Yeah, it's amazing.
And that's what I'm saying. That's why I think so many people know English and know about the culture, and that's why it's easy to assimilate, because it's so much part of their life.
Yeah, the Western American culture.
Yeah, and they embrace it, and they like I said, I was in 7-Eleven the other day, and it was hot out, so I decided to sit inside the 7-Eleven and eat ice cream. Just relax. And a Madonna song came on, and this girl working at 7-Eleven started dancing around, and she knew all the words verbatim. And she was a young kid. We're not talking, older women, like a younger woman knowing all the words to Madonna, and I didn't even know like 3 words to the song.
Right.
And I was like, wow, that's amazing.
Yeah. What else, man? What else stands out you think about in your month being here? Anything else?
Mainly that.
Just the people, culture, and
the people, the culture, the women.
Yeah, right.
Of course, it's cheaper than the U.S.
Right. Is it what you expected then too? Did you any surprises?
Not really, because like you and I talked about before, I've been watching YouTube videos on the Philippines for like over 2 years, so I felt like I was prepared for a lot before I came.
Yeah.
It wasn't like I just stumbled
in.
Off the cuff.
I've talked about that a couple times, I think, too, but I think it's a combination of, yes, we've done our research, but also, too, I just think it is an easy culture for Westerners to jump into. It's so easy. Signs are in, English everywhere here. People speak, a friendly, welcoming culture that. So are you staying or moving?
To be fair, I said I would give it to December, so that's why I'm gonna stick to that
And you
before
haven't-
I make my final.
In your month. Yeah, it's pretty nice though, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think I could leave and never come back again.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. Yeah, and and just talking to other people who kind of bounce around from Philippines to like Thailand and stuff, they say similar stuff. As far as, man, it's great where they're at, but they miss the people here. They really do. Some of the infrastructure in other countries might be a little bit better, but the culture is what makes this place just that so incredible.
Yeah, because when I was in Thailand, sure, I liked the infrastructure and all that, but it was like I didn't feel welcome there. Like I didn't feel like I was part of it. Like I felt like an outsider. So it's like, well, good as everything else. It's kind of like the same concept of living in the United States. Well, I have all these great things in the United States, but I didn't have the relationships. I didn't have the women.
Yeah.
So like, what's more important to you?
Right. And that reminds me, I got a comment in my video that I wanted to talk about, and it was, so shout out to Hector Bubat, if I mispronounced your name, sorry. Here's his question. If I had a nest egg that allowed me to live decently in the United States, would I still move to the Philippines? Now, I know for you, you're retired, this may or may not apply, but I don't know. Yeah, what's your answer to that?
Unless you're a multi-millionaire, I would come to the Philippines.
Well, even then, so let's say you're a multimillionaire.
I still come to the Philippines. Because it goes back to what we were saying about before.
That's right.
I don't think in the United States, if you're a 50, 60-year guy,
You're
be
invisible.
a 20, 21
single.
year old, you would not have a real relationship.
Yeah, I'm the same. And when he asked that question, and I answered it kind of like that too. My move here had nothing to do with money. It was all about escaping a toxic culture and moving to a happier one. And the same thing. That would be how I feel as well.
Yeah, because you don't know in the United States if you became sick or paralyzed, would that woman be around? I doubt it very seriously. In this culture, if you went poor and paralyzed, she would stay with you more than likely.
Incredibly devoted.
Yeah.
It's one of the characteristics of the Filipinos, just their devotion to family. I mean, just probably more than any other society on this planet, and you're part of that as a spouse, no matter what age, So it's really cool, and that makes me think too of another factor in that is how they treat the elderly here.
Yeah.
They really respect and admire elderly people here. They even have a special way to greet the elderly. A special handshake where the younger person is supposed to, offer their hand as a symbol of their respect for the elderly. So,
and even in the lines, grocery stores or anywhere, if an elderly person is in line, people get out of the way and let them to go ahead of them. Or on the bus, if you're sitting down and an elderly person gets on the bus, you're supposed to get up and give them your seat. You very rarely have I seen an elderly person forced to stand up because somebody don't want to get off their seat. Somebody on the bus is going to get off that seat.
Yeah. Anyways, before we actually sign off, just in case we don't pick back up, dude, appreciate it, man.
No problem.
Thanks for taking the time. And, thanks for being the janitor for all those years, man.
No problem.
See you guys.